Hi guys, how you doing?
Oh, you too.
Princess?
Hi.
How you guys doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. Great, I'm fine. Um, I was thinking about depression. We've seen a lot of people commit suicide lately. Everybody's anxious about staying in Nigeria or not, different things. And, there was a time you would say things like, I know there was a time that Christians could not say that.
Yeah.
I'm depressed. Because it just sounds like, you have God.
Yeah. Why are you
Okay.
depressed?
Spiritual.
Yeah, but...
You need to pray it away.
But yeah, sometimes I think about it, like, if I have God, how can I still be depressed? What do you guys think? What's it?
I think that will now lead me to ask, is depression a spiritual problem?
Good question. I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
It's not, because depression comes from, like, everything happening around the environment, your thoughts
There's
and
triggers.
everything.
State of the mind.
Okay, good one too is your thoughts linked to your spirituality. What do you think, Princess?
Depression. Okay, so first of all, right, I think it's anxiety that really leads to depression because, like, anxiety is when you're bothered about something, but you really cannot do anything about that. Or you're bothered about something and you are not even doing anything about that thing. I have a very good example, right? There was this time I had a lot of deadlines. And, like, I kept procrastinating. And then the consequence of procrastinating was that I was approaching deadline. I knew that the pressure was so much, but I still couldn't do anything
I can
about
imagine.
it. And yet, every time I think about that task, I'll get scared. I'll be like, oh my God, but I was not doing anything in actual fact. Do you get? So it started leading me to that state where I was like, oh my God, work is too much. Oh my God, why can't I just sleep and make money? Do you understand? And then you see that it was escalating. I was already beginning to think, oh my God, this place is too full of pressure. Like, why is there so much pressure? But it's only one thing that caused that thing. Like, it was anxiety, like there was a lot and I wasn't doing anything about it, right? And you see where it's leading to now. It's too much.
It's a vicious cycle.
Oh
And it
God,
just pulls you down.
Yeah. And then you see that it's now pulling, oh my God, my mental health. Oh my God, what if I fall down and die?
Do you know that's what anxiety does? Like, you go from 0 to
100.
And
like, all the worst case scenarios will just come out
like,
at once. Like, it's horrible.
You said something and I think it's powerful. You spoke about procrastination. And one thing I've realized over time is that the worst of things, example, depression, there's a build to it. And I think is people that have mastered it. Because even when you go for therapy, which I'm going to ask later, is it cool? Is it okay to go for therapy as a believer? But even when you go for therapy, you see that there's no magic to it.
Of course. There's a process.
Yeah, they just guide you through how you think.
It's a process.
So it means that there's nobody below or above depression. It can happen to the best of us. But where do we now plug in as believers that we can eradicate it? I have my answers, but I want to hear. I want to hear you guys.
Okay, let me not start saying my story. So maybe we should hear from you.
If I'm going to say anything about that, for me, I feel when you dwell on something and then you become that thing.
Yeah.
And when Princess mentioned anxiety, leading to depression, when she was experiencing that anxiety, she was dwelling on those thoughts.
Exactly.
Like the things that I've not done, like you keep dwelling on it. And the more you dwell on those things, the more you think about becoming depressed. Yeah. Right? So to a large extent, I feel when it comes to Christianity, like when you talk about eradicating it, it may not be eradicated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it will be. It's going to be like a process, like it's going to be like a conscious thing. Effort. It will be there. It's just like when they say temptation will come, but it's what you do about the temptation, that kind of a thing. So the thoughts about depression will come. Being anxious would come, but if you dwell on it, that's when you fall into the vicious circle of, I think I'm going to kill myself or fall down. And for me, it's not about dwelling in.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm thinking now, like, so are we saying, can we compare depression to malaria? So malaria can be controlled if you fumigate, have mosquito nets and everything, but you can be exposed sometimes and still have malaria. So are we saying, and a believer can have malaria and an unbeliever can have malaria? Sure. So are we saying depression, is it possible that somebody can travel through their lives and not be depressed?
I don't think.
So you feel everybody.
I don't know. I don't think they will be depressed. I feel like there's a scale to this thing.
Yeah.
There's, you can be sad, firstly, and then that sadness builds up, and it just keeps going, and it just leads to this thing that it's like a mental paralysis where you can't do anything. So it's like you're trying to find strength. So it's just like what Princess was describing. Like you see that you have these deadlines. You can't do anything about the deadlines. So you're broken because deadlines are coming. You can't do anything about it. So you're sad that you can't do anything about it. And then the cycle just keeps going like that. So the thing that's making you sad, you can't fix it. Okay. And you can't fix the reason why you're sad as well. Okay. And it just keeps going. So I think finding strength, I don't know how you would find that strength, but if you are able to find strength to sort one side. It's
sounding more like God can come to this equation now because honestly.
Yeah, on your own.
Okay, so let me try, right? Yeah. Let me try. You know how you become what you hear. You're a product of what you listen to.
Yeah.
So I think the pastor was saying something. He said that the soul to, the mind to think, the soul to feel,
and the will to choose.
Yes, exactly. So now imagine when your thinking is reformed.
Yeah.
What makes a person go to kill himself? It's not a one-time thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That
person
of course. Must have thought over time. Maybe he's become a failure. You can't even buy bread. You can't even do this.
Exactly.
Those thoughts he's becoming. He's thinking about it and he can't even come out in public to face it. Right? Yeah. And then it leads him. So what if that person listens to changes?
Yeah,
what if that person
because exactly.
Yeah, so I think it's just transforming the mind.
Yeah, over time, because I always say this to my friends. I was like, we're like becoming parents soon, everybody's growing up. Even if you don't have children, whatever the case may be, you would have mentees and everything. Meaning that, can we, since we know more about these things too, and since we have started accepting that anybody can be depressed, Christian or not Christian, because I think sometimes acceptance is the beginning.
Definitely.
Solution to every problem.
Sometimes.
When you know that it's possible if I go to this place and have malaria.
Yeah, exactly.
The awareness makes me prepared. I'm guarded. I have mosquito nets. I have repellent and everything.
Totally.
So I think that's the first step. Everybody accepts I can't enter depression. I mean, what is happening in this country?
It's enough to
I wake up and say I'm not doing again, and everything. But now I think I want us to just, since we're all believers, I believe we have that in common.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think that I always feel like there's an advantage. I know that the basic of my believing and everything is that is salvation. But how can I also plug it into other things in life? So what do you guys think? Where do you think as a believer God really steps in this whole depression and anxiety thing?
I think firstly in the place of identity.
Yeah.
Because depression, anxiety always have a lot to do with what we think we need to do.
Yeah.
And then a lot again to do with who we think we are. And if my definition about myself is based on the things I'm not able to do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right now I can't write this exam, so I'm dumb.
Yeah,
or I failed this thing, so I'm this and I'm that. And there's a voice of God that is now screaming and saying, this is my child in whom I'm pleased. I think having that, when Jesus was tempted, I think it's so significant that the first thing that happened before, scripture says he was led to be tempted, was, that voice that came to give him that confirmation that this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Everything. And that was a reminder of his identity. And I think it's very important for us to, before we go into anything, just remembering who you are and not basing it on what you think you can or can't do in that moment. Actually remembering that, okay, I am God's child. It changes the way that you may think about a lot of things. Because if you start defining yourself based on, I remember I used to beat myself up when I was trying to learn how to sing a certain technique, and I'm like, if I can't do this thing, then I can't call myself a singer. Like everybody that I know that can sing can do this. And it's like, if I don't start seeing myself the way God's seeing me, and when I started to do that, I even found it easier to learn nothing. Because I was more relaxed. I'm more like, listen, this does not define me. Yeah. A lot of things that depress people are things that they think would define them. Yeah. So I think that's a very good place to start, fixing from.
That's powerful.
Okay,
Quick.
so I was thinking, you mentioned something about at the beginning that it's almost impossible for you as a Christian to say you are depressed. And I feel to a large extent the criticism that comes with it. Like, for example, I say I'm depressed and then you're looking at me like, don't you have Christ? Don't you have... I think for a whole lot of people, we also don't understand compassion. Do you understand? Like, there was, this morning when Pastor Anselm was preaching, he was saying something about you don't have to go through a negative experience for you to have compassion. So to a large extent, fixing this whole depression thing in Christendom, in quotes now, it comes with compassion as well, like
From other people.
Yeah. I think compassion helps a lot to fix the problem around depression.
Yeah,
Totally
people
agree.
need love. People definitely
To be honest, like
need love.
it's sometimes the biggest things in life. Yeah, sometimes the biggest things in life we think they are so big. But sometimes when you look at it from God's perspective, you see that they're actually not as big as you think. Because, you were saying something that before you get into something, you know that God is with you. But sometimes we fall into things we don't even know. Like, breakup can just happen. Wow.
Breakfast.
You can just, you can just, anything can happen. But yes, but what is important is that even when it happens, when it's unexpected, God is good.
He is.
True.
God is good,
This
and
is
that's
nature.
fine, and He loves
regardless
us
of the situation.
and everything. And therapy is important too.